Today we have on Josh Sussman, and the episode we just had was incredible.
Like, truly iconic, actually. We know him from Wizards,
Glee,
Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, Drake and Josh.
I Owe My Life to Corbin, Bleu.
So many different things. One of it, like a Jay Leno skit came on my TikTok the other day that he was in. It was really great. Like, phenomenal comedic actor. Truly has so much knowledge.
And the knowledge he has about this industry, he passes down to us in this episode, and it's really cool to hear him talk about all of his experiences, and we know you guys are going to love it. I'm so excited for this episode.
Josh Sussman, everybody.
Hey, I'm Ava.
And I'm Lauren.
Welcome back to Hold for
Hold
Sound.
for Sound.
Oh, Hold for Sound.
Ready, and 3, 2, 1.
Hold for Sound. And today we have on Josh Sussman.
Yay!
Josh, we are so happy to have you here with us today.
I'm also happy to be here, so
Aww.
it works out.
I'm glad. You might know him from Wizards of Waverly Plays.
I might know him from Glee.
So many other things, like I think he did an episode of like Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. All over your childhood, and I love it.
Absolutely. And with that, like, you worked on so many different shows that had different tones, and you were working on different networks. How was that experience for you?
I would say working on like the Nickelodeon and Disney shows are just so much more fun. It almost reminded me of like when you're doing a school play and just the rehearsals where it's just fun, where it's just like a bunch of kids and you're having fun, and it doesn't seem as serious, where it's like you did bad, like you're not in trouble. It's not like, it's just having fun and you're playing. You get to make choices. And yeah, no, I loved it. I'm so thankful that I got to do those shows and that I got to then go from Nickelodeon to Disney. And I didn't know if they would be like, oh, you're on this network, you can't. And I guess if you're a series regular, you can't. Sure. But then when you're just a guest person, they let you. So
yeah, that's incredible. I feel like a lot of actors have that fear of not being able to work on different networks, especially like simultaneously. Mm-hmm. It's really cool to hear you say that, you know, like in certain cases it doesn't matter as much.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think when I auditioned for the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, they were looking at my resume and they saw, ooh, Drake and Josh recurring. How many episodes were you on? And I didn't know if, the answer is 2, but I'm wondering, are they going to think, he's not in that many, so maybe he's not that good, but maybe here the answer was good. 2, they're like, okay, only 2. He's not too much into the Nickelodeon world. So, and that was the first and one of the only jobs that I got offered the job in the room, which is a very rare thing. And I don't think that happens as much anymore because now so many auditions are self-taped. You don't even get to go in and meet the people.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And I miss that. And that was a very intimidating thing. I remember at Sweet Life, there's a bunch of people in the waiting room, and then they would say, okay, you could go home. Oh, you could stay.
Gosh.
And it's always, and they tell you like, okay, you're good. We don't need anything else.
Oh, sure.
But it's like, wait, but this person was asked to stay. And that still happens at commercial auditions.
Yeah.
And it's always, you never want to be sent home.
Yeah.
But there, I remember at Sweet Life, I was the last one to remain. And then I got to go right to set because they were casting so last minute.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Right away.
So I had to move my parking spot because I parked at a meter. And they told me to report to the set, whatever soundstage it was at the Hollywood Center Studios. But then they let me park on the lot that I didn't have to use coins anymore to park. So that was, and now you don't even have to use coins. You can pay for parking on a credit card, which I'm so thankful.
I know. We used to carry quarters in our middle compartments. Now we don't have to do that.
Yeah, and sometimes they would get stolen. Like if you ever park at valet, I noticed some of my coins are missing. but I don't know, was it the valet or maybe I just used all my coins and I didn't realize it.
And so, yeah, that's incredible to book something day of.
Yeah.
And go right to set. How were you feeling? Like, were you a little bit nervous? Were you just like stoked, game mode on? Like, what was your thought process in that time?
At that point in my career, I was saying before, I feel like I've done everything backwards instead of struggling for years and then having success. I had, when I moved here, I kind of started working right away, and it was like almost okay. Of course, this is expected, and I didn't know how dumb and lucky I was that I got to. But it's like okay, this makes sense. I was really good at this audition, so no, it felt natural. I didn't feel nervous, and I think having that confidence of not struggling, like okay, I know that I could do this. So I think, now with years of not having worked as much, I want to get back to, that older mindset of, no, this makes sense.
Wow.
I'll do good. I could contribute to it. And that was a sitcom. So when I went, we just did a day of rehearsal. And the producers gave me more to do. They gave me an additional line because they thought,
oh, awesome.
Because I tried to add things in the audition or have a strong moment before. I've always found that really helpful in auditions to figure out what would the character be doing right before the audition starts. And even if it's something it's very simple, I feel like that's helped me in the audition process. And I did that there, and I think like, oh, wow, that was interesting. And maybe that's why I got the part, but it was just very welcoming. And it was just a very welcome, so there's no nerves. So I really wasn't nervous.
Wow. Yeah, I think when like sometimes things align just right, you do kind of step into that identity of, okay, yeah, this does make sense. Like, yes, I am here. Like, yes, I am ready to do this. I'm supposed to be here.
It's totally. And so you've done like a lot of different sitcoms and stuff. And then you did Glee, which is not like it's a drama, but it's also very like characterized, you know what I mean? Like very big. So was there a difference in like your acting approach to kind of doing those different characters?
Well, I guess some of the other ones like Wizards or any of those, they're done in front of a live audience. Sure. Even though only one of my episodes was done in front of a live audience because of lots of special effects, but they're done more as a play. And I think as a play, some of the scenes they play out, no pun intended, where there's less stop and go, where on Glee, which is a single camera, there's more stop and go and the scenes aren't as fluid. And on the other shows, the multicam, you have a lot more rehearsal. You rehearse a lot. And sometimes on a single camera show, the first time you do the scene, you don't really have a rehearsal, or you just have a blocking rehearsal where they tell you where you're standing, where you're going. So I feel like there's a lot more pressure. And there is, and it's a much bigger crew and much bigger budget. And I think there definitely is more fear, like, ooh, I do not want to mess up my line. I do not want to do that. And even though if you ever flub a line, it's not like they go, shame on you. Sure. And I think in my mind, I'm always afraid of someone saying, shame on you. And that hasn't happened.
Good.
But it's definitely, I think is more nerve-wracking just because sometimes I've had scenes on Glee where the first time I'm performing with the other actor is on camera during a take after they call action. But that also adds an extra energy in that it's more real, or sometimes I'm going to try something and that the other actor doesn't know I'm going to try. And so sometimes you get a more natural reaction, and that's fun also. Yeah. So I love them both. I love rehearsal, but I love the spontaneity of I don't know what they're going to do. Yeah. They don't know what I'm going to do, and even though I know what I'm going to do, I don't know what I'm going to do because they might do something that makes me
do something completely different.
And so I love I love acting. I want to be back on set.
Yeah.
Don't we all? Yeah.
I'm
so great.
Happy the strike is over.
Oh, yes. I know. How are you in this post-strike world?
Optimistic.
Good.
Though I want to actually, I have a gripe, and I want to do a little PSA.
Let's do it.
Let's do a
because
PSA.
I believe in positivity.
Absolutely.
And I remember on January 2nd, I was feeling just so positive. 2024 is going to be a great year. I open up my Instagram, and I see someone say, post a picture of this, or you're going to have an unlucky 2024. And are you guilty? Have you done these?
No, I haven't, but I've seen them.
They need to stop.
They need to stop. They make me angry. And it's like... And it's like, I'm not going to post it. I am not going to share this. So am I subjected to bad luck because I'm not doing it? And it's like, I've seen this last year and I've seen it the previous year. And I've had some misfortunes in my life, and I don't believe these misfortunes are because I didn't post it. But it's like,
Never know.
but then I talk to people. I should probably talk to a therapist about this because it really destroyed my energy and the positivity.
no.
And they say our energy is our most valuable currency,
Absolutely.
and it's just like, people, please stop that. If you want to share your cute picture, just share your just share the cute picture. Don't threaten. It's social blackmail to be like, you're gonna have bad luck if you. And the thing is, when I see people doing this,
Yeah.
I like that person, and it's people that I like, and it's like, not you.
Not you.
Yeah. So that has to stop.
All I have to say is, if you don't subscribe to Hold for Sound, you're gonna have a bad 2024.
No, we are not putting that out there. We are not putting that. No, but it's true. Like, I feel like now in this whole new world of social media and this, we experience a lot of things that I don't know if like we were necessarily like made to experience in terms of that, like putting bad luck or bad superstition on people. Like that was never a thing before. And I think it's, I think a lot of like, I think it's hard for artists too. Cause like we kind of like, we really focus on our energy thing. So for us, it's like a baseline for us. So you're going to tell me I have bad energy. I'm going to try and do everything I can to fix it, but I don't want to buy into it.
Yeah, and then it's threatening someone else, and now some other innocent person, and it just continues to go and go. And I just wonder, I've asked some of these people, wait, so are you superstitious? Do you believe that you're going to have bad luck if you don't do it?
And they're like, no.
And they're like, no, Josh, you're taking it too seriously. Oh, that's I'm mad. I just want this to end. But it's not.
Okay, Instagram, you got to start taking those down.
That's so funny.
Wow. Okay, that's great. So there was a week where you were working on both Wizards and Glee.
Yeah.
How was that?
Did you have like one call, like, did you find out you booked one and then all of a sudden you booked the other one? You're like, I have to do them both like at the same time.
You were already working on both shows, right?
I was already on both shows.
Okay.
So it's, and I have to say that's been one of the coolest things as an actor, when you're able to do a job without auditioning for it. And the first time I experienced that was, and then I'm going back to answer, but it was Drake and Josh, because before that I was working all the time on things, but then when I had my second episode, like, they want to bring you back.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, because I've done so many things that I auditioned for. And now, wow, this is so cool that you just get to go back. But so then on Glee, I was hired for just one episode initially.
Wow.
And it became a 21 episode thing. But when you're on that and you realize, wait, I'm in the school, they could call back at any time. And so they do avail checks, like they make sure, are you available during this week? We don't know which day. So at one time, Glee, they called, and I would get so excited when they call because I never know if I'm going to be back, and I was excited every time I was back. And then Wizards was checking my availability, and I was like, oh no, like I hope, like I can.
Yeah.
First of all, there's the fear: can I do them both? And before I did Wizards and Glee on the same day, I was on an MTV show called War and the Ape, and I remember those two productions had to talk to each other and coordinate because they needed, and how lucky I was, I had two shows wanted me, and I was like, I don't want to lose out, but I got to do Glee in the morning, and then my call time on the other show was ASAP, and they were trying to talk, and so, but thankfully it worked out.
Cool.
But then when it happened on Wizards, with Glee, that was just fun and ironic because on Glee, I was a naughty boy. Like, I don't know if you've seen the show.
We've seen the show.
She's recently
We've seen it.
it.
I've rewatched the show probably twice. I literally love your character so much.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
But just knowing how naughty I was on that show, and then I'm on and I did that one first in the week, and then I went to Wizards, and I was just, I wonder if Wizards knows how, because at this point I was as naughty as a boy could be.
Right, yeah.
Glee, and so that was just funny to me. And my, I think on the week that I did both, it was Ghost Roommate. I think that was the name of the episode. And it was just a small, easy thing. So it's not like when people say, how are you able to play both characters? It's like, well, I could play chess and basketball in the same week. It's not really like...
Oh, that's a good little, connection.
It's not like there's no reason you couldn't. It's just Like I could put on a pair of Nike and I could wear sandals. And it's like, wow, you were able to walk in 2 different shoes because I'm
Wow.
comfortable
Right.
in it. And I know how to do the role in Wizards and I knew how to, but what it all comes down to, I think, is just good writing. And
Yeah.
both of those shows had amazing writers.
Yeah.
And and I think it's easier to be a good actor when you have good words to say.
Mm-hmm. You were talking about too, like having so much fun on Glee and not knowing what other people are going to do or say. Did you have in any of your shows like improv abilities to kind of throw in things where you wanted to?
On Glee episodes that Ryan Murphy directed, because he was one of the creator and writer, he would allow improv.
Cool.
And there were some, and he also just added things on set. Like,
Oh, wow.
in my very first episode, before I even did anything, I remember I was just kind of staring at Leah Michelle, which was trying to give myself a choice. And then he said, "Why don't you say to her, 'You enchant me'?" And so I said to her, "You enchant," and that wasn't in the script, and just some other lines. So, and I was on the MTV show I was on. They were script mints where we got to improvise a lot. So
Wow.
that's kind of, a script mint is kind of like Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know, where it's, this is what happens in each scene, and you get to kind of,
Love
so you know where the scene begins
And
and
ends.
ends, and you get to kind of do that. No, but on Glee, it was pretty much always as scripted, but sometimes you could add fun moments.
Sure.
Like one of my last Glee episodes, it was a nightmare. Rachel was having a nightmare, and my line was like, "I love you. Why won't you love me back?" or something like that. And it's like, I only have one line. How could I make the most of it? And I kind of just decided, what if I creepily stick my tongue out in it? And I was like, and I don't know. And I remember after the first take, there's no rehearsal. I just I could kind of just, I'm sorry for doing that, but it was.
I love it.
But I remember director Eric Stoltz said, "Josh, did you just stick your tongue out?" And I was like, I didn't know if I was in trouble, but I know
Yeah.
that I did, so I'm going to
Own it.
And I
Yeah.
said, "Yes, I did." And he said, "It's creepy and weird. I love it. Keep doing it." So that, like, at first, I don't know, am I in trouble? Did I cross
Yeah,
the line?
sure.
But just sometimes, if you could just find a physical thing, and that made sense in it. And in other things, I try to add, whether it's a wink or just
Sure.
things that aren't in it, just to even color the words in it even more.
That's awesome.
And especially now, with that auditions are that we have to self-tape them. If ever you're able to find any type of physicality or something that just makes it more real and more three-dimensional, I try to find that whenever possible.
And you always hear in acting class, I mean, growing up, they're always like, make choices, make strong choices, make bold choices, like, be different. Like, you're such a good example
You're a
of that.
great
Like,
example of
That's
that.
so cool to hear. Like, yeah, I just created that because I thought it was funny and it works, and it usually does work, I think.
Yeah. And I mean, like, what is that like for you to, you're such a familiar face in so many households. You make people smile and on so many different networks and so many different shows. I mean, I think for you, like, that is how you made your characters iconic and memorable, was adding things and the
those
choices that you
crazy
made.
choices.
Yeah.
I feel like I was so lucky. But I will credit the writers. I was on
Yeah.
really good shows, and I don't know. I remember, like, on Drake and Josh, I auditioned for that show a year earlier, and I didn't get the part. And then I'm thinking, well, the part that I ended up getting, I think, is a lot more memorable, and I'm happy with it. I'm on Drake and Josh for less than 2 minutes, and I get recognized for that very regularly. And
Wow.
sometimes I read comments where people are talking about how iconic the character of Clayton was, and I feel I don't know if that is because of me or if anyone else, but that's also actually a role where they expanded it on set, where they gave me more to do. But I mean, I've been on lots of shows that aren't talked about or that people don't. Like, I'll get recognized for Drake and Josh, Glee, and Wizards of Waverly Place. Even though there's lots of other things,
Yep.
I think Wizards had some of the same writers as
Yeah.
Friends.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I've recently met them, too. And they're just, like, smart and quick and witty. And, like, that's what I think makes a great script.
Yeah, so I think I can't take credit for, like, being like, yeah, I was all these iconic roles. I was fortunate enough to be cast
Yeah.
in other things. And do you know who Stephen Tobolowsky is? He was on Glee, but
Yeah.
And he was, I guess, best known for Groundhog's Day.
Oh,
And
yes,
as
for sure.
Ned
Yeah.
Ryerson. And I remember, and that's one of the most iconic movies. And whenever I was on set of Glee with him, he had the most fascinating stories. And he would talk about, as an actor, you want 3 things, and it's so rare to have all 3. For you to be good, for the project to be good, and I guess for people to see it. And oftentimes you'll just get 2 out of the 3 where, oh, it was a good project and you were good in it, but no one saw it.
Yeah.
Or you were good in it and people saw it, but it wasn't good. And so, and like he had that with Groundhog's Day, that hit all 3. And so that's,
Wow.
and you have no way of knowing, like you could be great in something and it could be good, but no one could see it, or it just, I've done projects that were so fun to do, but they turned out terrible. And I think you never know when you're making something good or bad.
Yeah, that you just never know.
Yeah.
You just never
And
know.
speaking of your other projects, I did do a IMDb Pro dive on you.
Yes, we know lots about you now. We've looked at your
wanna-
Wikipedia. Sorry.
Yeah, we did look at your Wikipedia.
You can't trust Wikipedia always.
But I have to ask. You don't have to answer. You did something called I Owe My Life to Corbin Bleu, and it was like a thriller?
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
What is that project? Tell us about
I
that.
think
Because
you
we
could
found it and we were laughing. Like, it's so cool.
You could see it on YouTube. And it's, what a cast. I think Drake Bell, Sarah Hyland
Yeah.
from Modern Family, Andrew Caldwell, Corbin Bleu. Lots of really interesting people were in it. And yeah, I had friends who made the movie and they asked, hey,
so
do you want to be
fun.
in it? I remember, I think we filmed I was filming November 8th, 2009.
Wow.
I remember that for personal reasons. But it's
so cool.
It's fun if you see it on.
We're going to go watch it.
Yeah, truly.
Are you High School Musical fans?
Yes.
She loves that. Are you kidding?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You would be good on High School Musical, the series. I could see
I
you.
auditioned every year for that show. I auditioned 4 times for that show.
Okay, so my instincts are right. The fact that you auditioned that many times,
Yeah.
they know it too.
Yeah.
They say that going back into the same casting director is kind of like the new Callback.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is.
And I'll just say, as an actor, I used to think early on, if they give you notes or give you direction, I would think, oh, they didn't like me. That means they didn't like my choice. But no, I've learned, no, the more they bring you in and the more they ask you, they do like you.
Yeah.
And it is a good it is a really good thing. So I hope I see you on that show. But the fact anytime that you go into the same office 4 times, you're doing phenomenal work. There's all these things that are out of our control.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
And I think with auditions, there's so many things that are out of our control. And I know a lot of people will get really sad or depressed. And what I tell any actor is we could just do the things in our control. And that's being prepared, being on time, and doing good work. But anything else, it's not personal. Like when we had auditions in person, I'd rather be there an hour early than a minute late.
Yeah.
And because that's in my control. I know I could be there early and, he's punctual.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe that's also why I got some jobs where, he had this time, but he was here. We're not going to have to worry about him showing up late.
I love being punctual. It's fine. It's kind of my thing. So the last thing we wanted to ask you, just real quick, is you were in like a really intense Meisner program, I found out.
Oh, yes.
Is that true? That's true.
I know it says it on IMDb.
It says it on both.
Mm-hmm.
But like with that, is there anything you carry from that? I mean, I'm sure there is, specifically into like your work now.
That's a really good question. And I hope my answer is okay.
Yeah.
So I guess I took my first acting class at age 9.
Wow.
And I was doing in different conservatories as a teenager. And then after high school, I went to this 2-year acting conservatory, which was very Meisner focused. And so many great classes. And I've been told by one of my favorite teachers afterwards, he said, forget everything you learned and just trust that whatever you learned is there. And the reason for that is because if you're on set and then you're trying to do technique, or, okay, I'm going to try to do this acting thing, you look mechanical and you look like you're trying to act. So if we have all this acting knowledge and acting education inside of us, it's there, and we have to trust that it's there, and we still do our homework. But if you're on set thinking, I need to do this, I need to do that, it just doesn't work. So I trust everything that it's there, and it's still great to be in class and still great to study and learn, but throw it out the window when you're on set, because your instincts will. And I don't know if there'll be acting teachers who hate that or like, what are you saying?
No, that's like how I was kind of taught too.
We just had this conversation
last night where it's like you do the work so you can literally let it go and then actually do the work, right? It's like you do all the self work and you're in class.
Muscle memory.
And
like you just
Exactly.
you do the homework and then you rely on your instincts and you just do your job. Yeah.
No, at the end of the day, my favorite definition of acting is living truthfully under imaginary circumstances. So at the end of the day, we're living our imaginary life, and it's just real to us, and we're not thinking about acting. And we have the words, and hopefully they're well-written words, which just makes it better and makes us look better.
Yeah. Wow. Josh, you have so much knowledge.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
This has been incredible. We have I
Time
feel
has
the energy.
flown by.
We love talking to you.
Truly.
Yeah. Wow. So where can we find you? On Instagram?
What's your Instagram?
I thought when you said where can you find me, I was like, well, I go to Whole Foods.
I literally have to start rephrasing that question because the past 4 guests have been like my address. And we're like, oh wait, sorry. Instagram.
What's yours?
No, I'm on Instagram, Mr. Josh Sussman.
Perfect.
TikTok is Mr. Josh Sussman. On Twitter, or X. I'm still used to calling it Twitter.
I know, we're not
Twitter.
used to that yet either.
And there, it's Josh Sussman, so there's no Mr. there.
Okay.
And I used to have the blue check mark, but then Elon Musk took it away. He took it away from everyone who has under 1 million followers.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Unless you pay for it. So anyone who has under 1 million followers that has the check mark, they're paying for it.
Good to know.
And that's fine. No disrespect to them.
No, yeah. That's good to know. That's good
But
to know.
that's where you could find me. But of all of the, and Facebook, Mr. Josh Sussman.
Perfect.
But Instagram is my favorite and the one I'm most active on.
Great.
And it's the one I'll see the most interactions.
Sure.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome.
Yay.
So go check him out there,
Follow Josh.
everybody. And this was Josh Sussman. This was great.
Yay!